The Geometry Dash community is no stranger to controversies and unjustified situations, with people like Krazen and Mohammed Jakalim Al-Abdullah being two prime examples of controversial and generally villainous people in the Geometry Dash community. But one person you may have heard of had gotten his controversial spotlight this past December. Jacobzamboni was a Geometry Dash community member who had over 100 subscribers on YouTube. You may even remember him from some videos on my channel. But in December, 18-year-old Jacob was revealed to be exchanging not safe for work imagery with a minor, and the community went wild. But how did this all start? Jacobzamboni was a member of the Geometry Dash community who was most active in Geometry Dash's daily chats and Discord server. Jacob would usually be found in these places talking with other people. However, in doing so, Jacob ended up on some people's cold sides. Who were they? Makarot, Arthumai, Tesseract. These are a few of the people that Jacob had ended up on the bad side with. On Jacob's YouTube channel, many of his videos would get dislike bombed. On his Discord server, Jacobzamboni's Mountain, there would be raids with messages targeting Jacob spammed roughly every week. Let's take a look at Makarot first. Makarot is one of the main offenders of bullying Jacob. He would do things like threaten to send Jacob loads of pizza, dox him, and attack all of his YouTube videos and Discord server. Arthumai would work with Makarot to help him do all of this. However, Makarot eventually did try and make up with Jacob, although this did just turn out to be him messing with Jacob. Arthumai had also started a hashtag called #KillJacobZamboni in order to harass Jacob and make even more tensions between them. Makarot and Arthumai were partners in crime, cyberbullying Jacob with no remorse. Tesseract, an individual who was typically not sided with Jacob or Makarot and Arthumai, but usually staying in the middle. However, Tesseract did also end up contributing to the trolling like Makarot and Arthumai. There were more people who would harass Jacob, but these three are the main offenders. Luckily, Jacob was not alone, as he did have some friends to support him and help fend off the Discord raids. Myself, Jack the Hack, Ixley, and Xylite a little later on were all friends of Jacob's, and we were all part of the Jacobzamboni's Mountain Discord server. We all made sure raids in Jacobzamboni's Mountain were shut down and kept to a minimum, but unfortunately there wasn't a whole lot we could do about the YouTube stuff. Makarot and Arthumai were still able to harass and bully Jacob to their heart's content. Jacob would often feel hopelessness that this would never end, and to be honest, we believed it too. Makarot and Arthumai were not showing any signs of stopping. Jacob would constantly get dislike bombed, raided, harassed, and doxed a few times too. But then, on December 18th, 2020, the oil to fuel Makarot and Arthumai's flame was spilled, and chaos broke loose. December 18th, 2020. Leaked pictures and screenshots of DMs between Jacobzamboni and a user known as Slapfish began circulating many Geometry Dash Discord servers. These leaked images began to spread like wildfire. But, who is Slapfish, and why were these leaked screenshots so important? In September of 2020, Jacobzamboni met a user named Slapfish in a Geometry Dash Discord server owned by Grizzly. Jacob and Slapfish met each other in the Not Safe for Work chat of Grizzly's server, and eventually they both decided to start a DM with each other. Eventually, they started sharing Not Safe for Work content within their own private DMs. The exchanging of these contents was fairly mutual, but when they weren't sharing them, things were definitely a little awkward between them. Check this one out too. Yeah. Hey, I'm not really in the mood for this right now. You mind? I'm just so happy that we're friends. I'm just so happy that I found you on Grizzly's server and that we're friends. Could you listen? Also, my new Jacob Chronicles is going up. Isn't this exciting? You keep changing the subject. Oh, check this one out too.
This is how most of the non-mutual conversations between Jacob and Slapfish went, usually involving Slapfish trying to tell Jacob that he doesn't want to talk right now, as Jacob rambles on about random things, constantly changing the subject and ignoring Slapfish. It should also be noted that Jacob does have autism, which may play a role in why conversations like this seem to happen so often, but Jacob still should have listened in this scenario. So that is what Jacob and Slapfish were doing, but how come when DMs were leaked, people went ballistic? It all comes down to age. In November 2020, Jacob celebrated his 18th birthday. This did not change his interactions with Slapfish, and they continued to do everything they had been doing before this. Slapfish, however, was around 14. Yeah, as an 18-year-old, Jacob was exchanging not safe for work imagery with a minor.
As a friend of Jacob's, I was nothing short of shocked when I found this out, because it seemed so unlike him. Jacob was an innocent teenager just having fun talking to people in the Geometry Dash community. I was disgusted when I found this out. When I saw leaked conversations between him and Slapfish, I was stunned at both the naiveness and immaturity of Jacob, and I absolutely believe he was wrong by doing this. There is no excuse for exchanging not safe for work with a minor when you are 18. But I was at least willing to forgive Jacob. Then, December 18th, 2020 rolled around, and a few screenshots of Slapfish and Jacob's more not safe for work interactions were leaked. These screenshots spread around Geometry Dash Discord servers like wildfire, and unlike myself, the community was not so forgiving.
So on December 18th, screenshots began to spread revealing the sharing of not safe for work content between Jacobzamboni and Slapfish. Many Discord servers began seeing these screenshots, and with that, many people began seeing them too. So, what did people do about it?
Quickly after these images started circulating Geometry Dash Discord servers, Jacob was no longer safe in any of them. The main Discord server Jacob was a part of that he received a lot of backlash from was Grizzly server, the server that Jacob had met Slapfish in and had already sent not safe for work content in with Slapfish before, alongside many other server members. After a couple of days went by, a server member confronted Jacob directly about them, trying to get him to admit that he groomed Slapfish.
Spit it out, Jacob! Did you groom Slapfish? Yes. Oh my god, he admitted it! Jacob groomed Slapfish, it's confirmed! Wait, what? I can't believe you just admitted it like that, you idiot! Wait, I didn't know that that's what that meant. No, I did not groom him. You liar, you absolutely did.
This interaction is what took place between Jacob and a server member, and everyone who saw it believed Jacob really did groom Slapfish and that he was a pedophile. This is simply false. These are the definitions of grooming and pedophile. This is not what Jacob did in the least. All Jacob ever did was exchange not safe for work images with Slapfish. There was no intention of grooming him. So already, the community was believing that Jacob was a pedophile who groomed Slapfish because he accidentally said he was when he didn't even know what groom meant. To be fair, Jacob should have looked up what it meant before he said something, but still, you can't blame someone for something they don't know about when they admit to it. Quickly after this, Jacob was banned from Grizzly's server, as well as a few others, but Jacob's trials weren't over yet, as he was about to go into an actual trial. It was December 19th, 2020, one day after the screenshots showing Jacob's conversations with Slapfish had been leaked. It was time for Jacob to be put on trial. This was no ordinary trial, however. This was a Geometry Dash trial. And it was, well, a mess. The GD court case was hosted by a user known as Dr. Jazz in a level's comments called DCC Reboot, which has now been taken down. Jacob was the defendant, and a user named Austin Boss was his lawyer. Many other players joined in on the court case to discuss as well. This was an alright setup to look at the situation. Not the best way of going about things, but it could work. Here's how the court case actually went. This court is now in session. Jacob, give us your plea. Okay, I did send Slapfish not safe for work pictures, but I never groomed him. That's a lie! You groomed him! I never wanted to believe that you did this, Jacob, but this is absurd. You groomed him and there's no debating it. Guys, let's be reasonable here. No, he's a pedo and he deserves to be hurt. Yeah, let him suffer. He sent not safe for work to a minor. Why are we even debating this? Can we all just agree that Jacob deserves to be locked up? Guys, look, I didn't know it was illegal. And I wouldn't have done it if I'd known. You liar! You're a groomer, and that's a fact! Okay, how does everybody plead? Guilty! 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 So, everyone is voting guilty? Guys, no, you don't understand. This isn't true. I've made my resolution. Jacob, you are guilty. I'm telling an elder mod. And that is pretty much the whole court case summarized. Pretty stupid, huh? Everyone was totally biased against Jacob the whole time and wouldn't change their minds no matter what. This goes to show how flawed the Geometry Dash community is at solving real problems. Dr. Jazz eventually contacted someone who had then contacted an elder mod that would take action a few weeks after this terribly run court case. It's unbelievable that people had such biased opinions on Jacob. But how did that happen? Why was everyone so against Jacob?
Jacob had his world flipped upside down by this controversy. Nobody would listen to him because everyone thought he was a groomer. But why did everyone believe this so strongly? Well, the way the screenshots were leaked greatly impacted this. Jacob had shared screenshots of his conversations with Slapfish to a friend, and that friend eventually shared it until it was in the hands of none other than our Thumai.
When Jacob's controversy with Slapfish had been noticed by his cyberbullies, they knew that they could destroy him with it. The screenshots of Jacob's DMs had made their way to our Thumai to be spread all across Geometry Dash Discord servers, eventually leading to all the events we've just talked about. While Makarot remained relatively silent during all of this, our Thumai had made his way into the spotlight and he wasn't going to show any mercy towards Jacob. He was out for blood. As our Thumai spread Jacob's screenshots of his conversations with Slapfish, he made 100% sure that he made Jacob look as nasty as possible. Our Thumai also doxed practically all of Jacob's private information and claimed that because he got all of the information publicly, it was legal and totally justified to do it, which is just ridiculous. Our Thumai then took to YouTube and uploaded quite a few videos calling out Jacob and telling only the parts of the story that made Jacob look bad, and never told the other side. He also encouraged his viewers to harass and bully Jacob about it like he was already doing himself. But our Thumai wasn't alone. He had the help of one of Jacob's friends. This friend was the guy who asked Jacob if he groomed Slapfish in Grizzly's server. This friend was the guy who was second in command in Jacob's Discord server. This friend was Xylite. Jacob and Xylite met in May 2020, when Jacob had called him out in the GD Daily Chat for dislike botting several Geometry Dash levels. Eventually, Xylite made his way into Jacob's Discord server and caused some mayhem. Xylite also made it into Grizzly's server, where he would eventually confront Jacob if he groomed Slapfish. While Jacob banned Xylite from his own server pretty quickly, the two had remained in Grizzly's server, where they would slowly learn to get along and become good friends. And, in October, Jacob would unban Xylite from his server and rapidly promote him to second in command. But then the Slapfish controversy sparked, and Xylite sparked along with it. As soon as the controversy between Jacob and Slapfish had happened, Xylite didn't hesitate to turn on Jacob. Xylite first began interrogating Jacob in Grizzly's server, and we know how that ended. Xylite then began to chip away at Jacob's Discord server's channels, and since Jacob was already dealing with so much other stuff at the time, he never noticed Xylite was doing this, and eventually his server was practically a wasteland. Almost every chat was gone or cleared, and there were constant raids, people were pinged or banned all the time, and the server was practically destroyed. Jacob had started a backup server after he noticed this, but that one fell pretty quickly as well. The worst part about all of this was that the community, who was at first pretty silent about the whole controversy, quickly listened to our Thumai and Xylite. This led to a very biased community against Jacob that would not listen to him no matter what he was trying to tell them, unless it was something that they wanted to hear from him. The fact that the entire community was being convinced by people who hated Jacob, released all his personal info many times, attacked his YouTube channel and Discord server, constantly bullying him, and were clearly biased against him is absolutely ridiculous. It's safe to say that not only was Jacob's voice being silenced by the community, but his former cyberbullies as well as a close friend of his had turned on him and made sure he was absolutely miserable and wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So, where does that leave us now? After the overwhelming weight of the controversy, with an entire community being puppeted against him, Jacob decided that on December 31st, 2020, he would delete his YouTube channel, uninstall Discord, and never return. A little over a week later, Jacob was also once again banned from the official Geometry Dash Discord server, but that didn't matter much since he had already left Discord for good. Arthumai, despite manipulating a community against Jacob to the point of him deleting all of his YouTube videos and Discord account, he wasn't going to stop, as he continued to make more videos on the situation, and while they weren't as atrocious as the one he previously put out, they were still quite biased and they didn't stay up on YouTube for very long. Eventually, all of Jacob's cyberbullies moved on, as Jacob was gone for good. Jacob lost a lot of his friends during all of this. Really, the only friends that stuck by his side this whole time were Jack the Hack, Ixley, and myself. I do think that what Jacob did to Slapfish was wrong. It was wrong in every sense, and he absolutely should have known what he was doing was wrong. But the way the community responded to it all, by deflecting everything he said, and letting Jacob's sworn enemies puppet them into believing Jacob was actually grooming Slapfish, was so wrong and makes me so sad to see that the community would tear apart an 18-year-old with autism. It's also kind of ridiculous how the controversy started with people actually observing the situation for what it was, and ending with people pelting Jacob with blatantly incomplete accusations that didn't take into account the whole story. I did also do a short interview with Ixley, who some of you may remember from a couple videos on my channel in the past. Ixley hasn't talked to Jacob since the controversy ended. Here's what Ixley had to say. Alright, Ixley, thank you for coming to this interview. I have just two short questions for you, and the first one is, what did you think of the Jacobzamboni controversy when you first heard about it?
When I first heard about it, I was kind of on Jacob's side, not gonna lie.
My second question is, now that the controversy is behind us, what are your thoughts on it now?
Now, I kind of have to switch sides looking back on it. Some of the stuff he did was really wrong. Took me a while to realize that Jacob actually sent hentai to Slap, so...
Yeah, and it's messed up.
Yeah.
But, thanks for coming to this interview, and I appreciate it. Ixley's answers were very interesting, as I thought he would have disagreed with Jacob at first, but after taking in more of the story, realizing maybe Jacob wasn't really the bad guy here. But everyone perceives things differently, and I do have huge respect for Ixley for not flat out calling Jacob a pedophile like how most of the community did. So at the end of it all, Arthumai and Xylate are seen as heroes for calling out Jacob, when in reality they were just using the community against him. Jacob had his YouTube career and Discord account terminated, and he was left emotionally broken. Slapfish, while he was the victim of the controversy, got away without a word. Almost all of Jacob's friends now viewed him as a monster and quickly shut him down. And the Geometry Dash community thought they had stopped a pedophile and did something great, when in reality, they were just being used as pawns by Arthumai and Xylate, and in reality, had contributed almost nothing to solving any actual problems whatsoever.
The Geometry Dash community has been challenged with many controversial and real issues in the past. Jacob's story is something that I felt I needed to tell because of how misinterpreted and poorly handled the controversy was. Jacob's life was completely changed by this. He had lost almost all of his friends and was seen as a monster by the community, when that was only one side of the coin. So, in the end, the Jacobzamboni controversy showed that the Geometry Dash community is not cut out for solving real issues, as they are generally unable to look at a real-life problem rationally. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. This video has taken a long time to put together and has probably been my most ambitious and controversial video yet. But I really felt I needed to tell this story because I think the way the community handled this controversy was very flawed. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your feedback. But that's gonna do it for today's video, and I'll see you all in the next video.